Hello and welcome to the Walk and Live podcast. I am TJ.
And I'm Brooke.
And today we are going to talk about our communication tool belt with our words from our mouth holes. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making us a part of your week. As we said, I'm TJ. She's Brooke. Cool. I just thought I'd get that out of the way again, just in case people were wondering. I feel very hunched over. Do I look like a goblin? Well, apparently, according to Brooke, I look like a goblin. We're talking about communication today, and we're starting off strong. I was up here typing the notes, humbly, diligently working, trying to communicate to the audience, just things that will help them live a better life.
Lives.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was doing that, and you were curling your hair. And then you came up and said, "Hey, you look tired," to which I said, "Thanks?"
To which I said, "Are you tired?" And you said, "Yes." And then I was like, words coming out. You look at, it's true. But
do you know there's lotion downstairs?
You look a lot better. I said, why don't you go splash some water on your face and maybe put on some lotion?
Goblin boy, why don't you go
Hey, dead skin. I have something to help you down there to make you look a little more alive.
I did not sleep well last night.
I know, you didn't.
Which
is why I started off with the question of, are you tired? Not, you look tired. Because then you would have been like, I slept great. I'd be like, oh, well, it's just your face.
It doesn't show.
So that is why.
I slept poorly because I haven't gotten back into a nice rhythm of exercising. So it seems like I only go on Mondays.
Yeah.
And then I do some things at home throughout the week and play soccer on Thursdays. But every Monday, it feels like the gym that I go to does leg day, like the class that I'm in. And so my legs, my beautiful legs, are so sore that it was like painful to sleep. Like I couldn't get comfortable. It just hurt. Everything hurts.
Yeah.
And
it hoit.
The bad toys. So that's why I had trouble sleeping last night, which is why I look so tired and my face apparently looked dead. So it was just really strong start to know that, hey, we're going to record ourselves soon and the internet's going to see it. So fun. That's fun.
That is fun.
Side note, Swamp Dragons won. So I haven't
that actually is fun.
So haven't really mentioned the Swamp Dragon season. I kind of forgot about it.
So off and on.
But we've had a rough season. Mostly because our team has not been able to all be there. Schedule wise, commitment wise, it just like, the season got paused and then it started again. And so like there was just a lot of confusion. But the full team showed up last Thursday. All 65 Swamp Dragons. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And we won.
But it was enough like to have a full line of subs, which is like normally we have like one sub.
Yeah.
And we're in the over 30 league, so we get tired.
Right.
And we won. Not only did we win, but as we were leaving, a guy goes, "Hey, thanks for beating the top seed for us." Wait, what? What? Because I felt like we could have won a few games up until now.
Oh, I wish I had glasses.
Clink, 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 clink. So yeah, we beat the number 1 seed. And I felt like we played well. They were bad.
I bet they were.
I'm guessing they showed up and thought.
Well, they probably saw
our record
and was like, we're going to beat these people.
And we beat
these
them.
idiots.
Wow.
These dead-looking idiots. We're going to beat them for sure.
All these dead faces? Yeah, we got them. I am not used to vulgar language.
Yeah.
And
we don't go anywhere.
We don't go anywhere. We don't have any friends. And the friends that we do have don't swear.
Right.
But man, on the soccer field,
it's a little shocking.
It's like kind of shocking. And we're like, it's like when we played in the open league and we were playing like high school teams and college teams, like I wasn't surprised. Like these are young men. Their maturity level isn't probably developed.
Yeah.
But when you're playing against like a 40-year-old and he's cursing at you, you're like, ooh, not great.
It's a little
disheartening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm now realizing we used to hear it way more at weddings.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Lots of drinking.
Yeah. Lots of drinking, lots of swearing.
Not us,
Anyways,
other people.
I've said one swear word in my life, but
yeah.
That's it. Because I'm a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little Swamp Dragon update, and we got another game on Thursday. Hopefully we'll go back to back with the wins. Are you taking your socks off?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's the first time. Podcast first.
Yeah.
Brooke's socks are off.
This podcast.
I like it.
Rock your socks off.
A couple comments from last week that I really liked. We got a lot of great comments. Again, love the comments. Love the comments on YouTube specifically.
Love the comments. What's that?
I don't know.
No, love the
twirl.
Love
Keep the twirl.
I was like, I'm doing something. What am I doing?
Hate the twirl. So even if you're a podcast listener, we're going to link the YouTube video specifically to that episode in the show notes, so you can go and comment episode specific, which is super helpful.
Yeah.
And we love it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Hannah Cooper said, "You're right. I'm here for the Stormlight Archive references, and I'm all in. I'm halfway through Rhythm of War, and wow.
Wow.
Also, I love your sweet family, and you both helped me reset my standards for relationships and marriage, and why to do either. So thank you." So that was awesome. If you missed it, Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. I'm also just finished a new book by him. Well, it's not new. It was new to me.
Right.
Called Skyward. If you're going to start with Brandon Sanderson, I would start with The Reckoners.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what the series is called. It's about superheroes that turn evil. Very, very good.
Okay.
But this one would also be an easy one to start with. It feels like more like pop literature.
Right.
Not as dorky and as like nerdy as Roshar and the Stormlight Archives and the Radiance and the Everstorm. But whatever. That's fine. You start where you want to start. But if you want to start somewhere a little bit lighter and not as quite geeked out,
right.
Maybe Skyward or The Reckoners, Steelheart, whatever. Anyways, thanks, Hannah. I hope you enjoyed that little section too.
Yeah.
Have you listened to Skyward, Hannah? Hannah, should we start a Brandon Sanderson fan club podcast? I don't know. I don't know if that's where we got to.
I think that's what just happened.
Okay, cool. I'm here for it.
Skyward with TJ and Hannah.
Welcome to Roshar.
Yeah.
With TJ and Hannah.
What would the soundtrack be like under the soundbed under that? The whole time?
Caledon. Real specific on our audience choice today.
7 people.
Paige Hoover said, some thoughts I had regarding the conversation on Sabbath. One, I go to Lancaster Bible College, and in my one Bible class, we learned about rest and Sabbath. I'll never forget the simple definition of rest. Rest is enjoying God's blessing. It's so simple, but so applicable. Yeah. Number 2, I also enjoy listening to Annie F. Downs' podcast. That sounds fun. And she's a big promoter of implementing Sabbath into your weekly rhythm. One thing she says, if you work with your mind, Sabbath with your hands. If you work with your hands, Sabbath with your mind, which I love. That's kind of what we're saying. That's why I do yard work.
Right.
Because I have office hands all week. Mm-hmm. Just thought I'd throw those 2 out there, which is great. Thanks for the podcast. Monday mornings aren't so bad since I have your podcast to listen to. Well, thank you very much, Paige. Any thoughts on that?
No.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we'll link this episode in the show notes of the podcast for the listeners, so you can go comment and make it easy for you to get there in one quick click. One quick click.
That's good.
I like that.
Like click, click, click.
Click, click. So on Netflix works. No music added to the playlist this week, mostly because Brooke doesn't listen to music. And 2, I have been listening to like the top 4 songs of our playlist, which is Best Day With You. The one by Echo Smith, the new one that I just added that I'm totally blanking. Falcon. And then something, I think the next one's Oceans Apart. And
That's it? And then by then we're done with music?
By then I'm like, I've arrived at my destination. And then I'm a big fan right now of Without Words by Bethel Music because I've been reading more, but I don't like hearing myself breathe while I read.
Wow. You can hear. Okay, so this is a great point. And yet you think it's insane that I need to sleep with a fan because I can hear you breathing.
Well, first of all, I think it's insane that you need to sleep with like 25 fans.
I do not.
Well, the power of 25 fans. The fan that we have is so loud.
I turn it down.
No, but it's still so loud.
But let me say, that is not the fan for us. That's the fan in the hallway so that our second rage child doesn't wake up. I mean, I love her. She's so sweet and delightful. She is sweet and delightful, but
yeah. I tend to stay more focused when there's extra noise, which I know sounds backwards, but
it's the total opposite of me.
Yeah. But. So I've been listening to Without Words while I read because reading is hard. And I told myself I'd read 2 books and I'm 1.5 down and I've got 11 days to go.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tight. I will say that my first book was easier to read because it was much like, I don't know, it was just an easier topic where this book strong fathers, strong daughters. There's some intense topics in that. And
Right.
so I
So
find
you're not
myself
just,
like, oh yeah,
skipping through.
you know, like, so it's definitely a little bit harder. So now that we have all those updates out of the way, how was your week, babe?
My week was good.
My week was actually good.
Yeah. I said my week was good from the start.
I like it.
I don't feel like we did a whole lot. I mean, we didn't.
True.
We didn't at the same time.
Yeah.
What did we do?
We're off social media.
Still. It's amazing.
20 days in.
I could do 80 more. I couldn't.
We would need to make an income at some point.
Yeah, I don't totally mean that. But it just feels so
refreshing.
Yeah.
Still refreshing is the word I would use. And also like not as hard as I thought it would be this time around. Not that it was hard last time.
Did you think it would be hard this time around?
I didn't have an expectation for its difficulty level.
Okay.
It's definitely easier because I have my phone. Like
Correct.
and so I don't find myself frustrated with like,
no music
or
Yeah,
I need
whatever.
to have directions to get to this place.
Yeah.
So it's been good. We didn't do a whole lot. You cleaned on Friday, did our normal Friday family rhythm routine.
And
We've been doing this thing where after family dinner on Friday, we don't have a TV in our living room.
Right.
We removed it a long time ago because our kids would never stop asking to watch something.
back when we only had June.
Yeah, so we have a TV in our bedroom, which is kind of like where they watch their shows and stuff, and then we have a TV in the basement where I play video games.
Mm-hmm.
So our new rhythm is after Friday night dinner, Brooke gets the girls cleaned, and while she does that, I clean up the kitchen like I normally do, and then I bring the television from the basement up, set it on the radiator, plug it in to watch a family movie on the couch. Because we did definitely kind of miss that sort of environment of like, we're all snuggled up on the couch and we got popcorn and drinks and snacks. And so we're kind of adding that back into our lives, but controlled. Like we don't want the TV to permanently be up there. And so last week, and we were just kind of picking random movies, and then we realized we should have like a schedule to this and a routine to this. So it started with me last week. I got to pick the movie. I picked Ratatouille, right? No, I picked Onward. And then you this past week picked Big Hero 6, which is one of the girls' favorite movies. But by the end of it, they were both playing, and Brooke and I were like, "This movie's really good."
Oh, it's one of my favorite movies.
We were all in on it.
Excellent movie.
And it's June, so it's going to go me, Brooke, June, Sunny. So it's June's turn to pick this week. We were watching the Lego movie yesterday at some point, and she was like, "I want to watch the second one." Although I don't really remember the parts, but I want to watch it. Like she was like,
she already knew. She doesn't know what to expect.
Yeah,
that's so great.
But Lego Movie 2 this Friday, so it's gonna be good. And then it was Sunny's birthday.
Yeah, did her birthday corner, mermaid themed.
She turned 3.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Feels very crazy.
But
I like it.
Yeah, mermaid themed. June, if you can see me, stayed up.
Yep, stayed up late
to help me decorate it. She barely helped.
Yeah,
but she was up.
She was up, and she was there for it, and it was a way for her to celebrate her sister.
Yeah,
because Sunny's actual birthday was pretty tough for June this year.
Well, I feel like Sunny's birthday was tough for Sunny.
Well,
she had a rough two to 3 days.
Yes,
all in a row.
That culminated with a story that we'll tell shortly.
Oh, really?
But it was interesting. So like we celebrated Sunny. It was kind of low key because we're having the party this weekend, and it's just family and stuff. But she doesn't have any friends.
It's kind of true.
But what was I going to say? So at the end of the day, I could tell June was just like feeling the feels, and you know, this is kind of what we're talking about today is like how to communicate, and it's, you know, it's the same with your spouses as with your children, just different, you know, a little bit. And so I was like, "Hey June, what's going on? Like, what's up? I kind of feel like you're having a hard day. Can you tell me why?" And she, you know, was able to put words to it. She's like, "Well, it was like Sunny's birthday corner, and it was Sunny's birthday corner, and like Sunny, and everyone was like Sunny. And it just felt like you guys forgot I was in this family." And I was just like, "Oh gosh,
bless her."
You know, and like she's 5, she's gonna turn 6. She knows her birthday is coming.
Yeah,
it's 23 days away.
Yeah,
we're
aware. We ask the device all the time.
We ask the device every day. But it was just like, it was so, I was actually really proud of her to be able to say that. And we had to have got to have a conversation of like, well, it's her birthday and we're celebrating her today. And like, that's okay. And that's good. And like on your birthday, we'll celebrate you. Yeah. And we need to be able to celebrate the members of our family because we're all valuable. And then I explained a few things that she got to do today that Sunny didn't get to do. And that kind of helped. But it was really good and kind of a fun conversation. But Sunny has had a few rough days, culminating with one of the most intense freakouts she's ever had.
It was I don't want to say it was a tantrum, but for lack of a better term.
I would say it was a tantrum when she threw out everything out of her bed, took off her jammies, and tried to rip her crib sheet off of her crib.
Yeah.
I would call that a tantrum.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It was like, I don't know what to call it.
Yeah. And so Sunny,
I remember them happening with June.
Yeah.
During year 3.
Yeah. And
maybe like 3 times.
And we get questions a lot of times like, what do you do with Sunny? Like, because we've talked about Sunny, she's intense. She's passionate. She's athletic.
Probably athletic.
And so, people are like, what do you do? And it's like, honestly, like they're 2 and 3. Like we try to put boundaries up. We put her in timeout. We do things that, most families do, but sometimes you just got to kind of like, let it happen. Like she raged in her crib and we were just like, well, that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause the point isn't to teach your kids that feeling anything or having any emotion is bad or not allowed. It's that you can't always do what you want with those feelings and emotions. And that's what we try to parent. Yeah. Not so much the like, just stop. Yeah. Just stop yelling. Right. I'm like, well, if somebody told me to stop crying when I was, if I was truly crying hard, I'd be like, you think if I could do that right now, I think I would just stop.
Right. Yeah.
Like, clearly I can't.
Yeah.
I shouldn't go bite my sister while crying. There's something.
Yeah. So if you have a little rager like we do, one, just continue to try to just set up those boundaries and try to teach them some methods to calm down and to obey and to listen and all those good things that us parents have to do. And then
teach them how to divert their energy elsewhere versus just
and know that like sometimes it'll just happen and you just kind of got to roll with it. And like, that doesn't make you a bad parent. It doesn't make you a bad mom or a bad dad. It just means you have a little rager. That's okay. And like, and something I say about Sunny, because we do kind of joke about how she burns hot and burns with the intensity of 1,000 suns. And that's all good. And we try not to make those jokes in front of her or sister. We just kind of make them together and to the internet. So sorry, Sunny, when you're older and watching these. But here's the good thing about you, Sunny, if I can speak to you as an adult. The passion and the energy and the vigor you have for life, if you allow the Lord to take it and to use it, you will do incredible things. And so that is always my prayer. Not that you would become less passionate or less athletic. Athletic is a new term. We were talking to a friend and she was like, anytime my kids would rage, I would call them athletic. And I love it. I'm like, that is amazing.
She's just really athletic.
Yeah. So I just like, I try to balance my like Sunny burns hot with Sunny will burn with a good passion and know what's right and true and follow that with her whole heart. And that's what I'm excited for. So if you have a little rager like we do, know that if you can teach them and build them up in the Lord, they will do amazing, incredible things. I didn't expect to talk about that, but I did.
Here we
are. I think that's it. I went to IKEA with my mom. We did that yesterday because for Christmas, I gave my parents each $50. I said, I want to spend one-on-one time with you this year. My mom waited about 25 days and cashed it in. Which I'm not surprised. And so we went to IKEA for the day and then got Shake Shack. And it was just fun, just talking with my mom. No matter how old your kids are, I think one-on-one time with them is good. Or how young your kids are. Sometimes it feels pointless when you have one-on-one time with a 1-year-old, but it's not. So it was really, really good. We didn't really go for any reason other than just to have somewhere to walk around because it's so cold outside. And I'm assuming that my time with my dad will be spent shooting some weapons somewhere. So less talking, more shooting.
Yeah.
My mom and I did some shooting, but not a lot.
Right.
That was it. That was it for the week. Anything else to add for your week?
No. I'm gearing up to pack 200 boxes.
Okay. Yeah. We're still in the pre-packaging phase.
Yes. Yep.
The apparel is on the way.
Yep. Waiting on the bags of coffee.
Bags of coffee are on the way.
That's it.
That's it. It'll feel real nice to not have boxes stacked around our house. I'm not saying that I don't like it, but I'm also not saying that I want it forever. So I'm kind of in that in between.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. It's fine.
It's a good place to be.
So today we're going to kick off with the segments because we have a really good topic today. And I don't often say that about the podcast. Like normally I feel like, hopefully this is good. We'll see what happens.
Are you saying see the world or sea world?
I don't know.
But today I'm actually excited about the topic. Not that I'm not excited, but you know what I mean. Right?
I know what you mean.
Okay.
I do know what you mean. You're up, babe.
So we're gonna start off with the segment. So this is Mount Rushmore, Rushmore, Rushmore of mountains. I'm free.
I was wondering if you were going to remember that.
Of kids movies that you watched that you can't wait to watch with your kids when they're in an appropriate age.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So for me, and Brooke and I made these lists separate from each other.
Yeah.
So here are mine. Mrs. Doubtfire. Let me segue into a Mrs. Doubtfire story. I one time saw Robin Williams in the airport. Rest in peace. It's sad that he's gone.
It actually is.
Yeah.
It's delightful.
Yeah. And I saw him in the airport and I screamed to my mom, Mom, it's Mrs. Doubtfire. And he turned, smiled, and kind of chuckled and then kept walking. I made Robin Williams laugh. I can say that in my life. It's pretty cool. Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park, I feel like was the first epic action movie that I saw as a kid.
Yeah.
Like live action.
For sure.
You know, like
suspenseful.
Yeah. When he gets eaten off that toilet, I just remember being like, oh, man, this is so cool. You know, like everything inside me loved it. And so like that one, you know, we'll have to wait till our kids are a little older. Hook. Excellent movie. Again, another Robin Williams. And then the last one, Jumanji, another Robin Williams. I'm a huge Robin Williams fan. I didn't even know it. There is a documentary about him out now, but I feel like it'll make me too emotional.
Are you afraid you won't like it?
No, I'm afraid that because he had a rough,
yeah,
like he started like losing his memory and like just like some hard things at the end of his life. And I don't know if I can handle that. I'd rather remember Mrs. Doubtfire Robin Williams than end of life Robin Williams. But that's also just my personality. So
I know.
There you go.
I didn't know there was one out. What's it called?
I think it's called Robin because that's his first name.
His first name. Not like Batman and Robin. Is that a prequel? Oh, man. Okay, my movies are Hook. Excellent.
Yes.
Watched it all the time. Babe, which our kids are
Rufio.
Our kids are age appropriate, I think.
Yeah.
Probably to watch Babe. They only track, so especially June. You know, well, Sunny's not tracking at all, but June is only so interested in like real people movies.
Yeah.
James and the Giant Peach.
Not one that I watched very much as a kid.
I watched a lot.
Okay.
It's very good. The animation has a similar feel to
it's Tim Burton,
guy,
right?
Yeah. Who I'm generally not a fan of his movies, but
Edward Scissorhands is his best movie. Just has a strong feeling and that's there.
Seen that, but
give me grace and
peace. Okay, so James and the Giant Peach, and then the Santa Claus.
Nice. That's so good.
Papa Shisha.
Stung by a bee. Those are good.
I could have. There were more, and then I feel like I have a whole subset of movies that I watched as a kid that I will never show my children because they're so weird.
Yeah. Well, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Okay, like I didn't really watch that growing up, but it's weird.
Yeah.
And then there's just some other ones like, Fern Gully. Which I loved, and then I'm like, I don't know, maybe my kids would love it, but I'm like, that's Robin Williams. He's the voice of the bat. Price Jack on prune juice, Bob. Price Jack on prune juice. Okay, maybe I should add that to this list. It's a great movie. Thumbelina, weird. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like you watch it now and you're like, oh my god.
The language in old kids movies is so harsh compared to the language in new kids movies. Like, you know, the names they call each other and some, yeah. So it's interesting. So I have strong feelings this week. These are my feelings and they're strong. They're strong feelings. Brooke, my love, my wife, my bride.
Yes.
Doesn't know how to put silverware in the dishwasher. And I'm just going to say it because it needs to be said, babe.
Okay.
You know, I love you and I'm here for you.
Mm-hmm.
But You don't know how to. And if we need to shift this whole podcast for me to give you a play-by-play on how to, I can.
Right.
So
just give me step one of
okay.
the play-by-play.
So step one is the silverware thing has a flap that flaps down so you can drop the silverware in one at a time so the tops are sticking up so that the water can hit them more freely to clean off the part that you put in your mouth.
Right.
So that's it. End of steps.
End of steps.
And here's the thing. The designers of dishwashers, who I'm sure are really smart human beings, designed it that specific way for the goodness of us, for the goodness of mankind. They said, hey, why don't we put these things so it can hold this
little dividers in the basket?
Little order.
Wow. Those are some strong feelings. So, am I next?
Yeah, go ahead. First, if you want to say anything like apologize or tell me how right I am, you can. I'll wait for it.
Wait for it. Okay. So that's psych, right?
Yeah. Wait for it.
My strong feelings would be that TJ, my husband, my groom. I don't think I've ever called you that.
It doesn't work as well.
What? Weird. I don't regret it though, so that's good.
Because like a dog's grooms.
That's a groomer. Yeah, I didn't call you that.
But it still has that
my husband, my groomer. What? This is so weird. Okay, back to the spoons. So you don't know how to rinse things lightly before they go into the dishwasher. I'm not saying do the dishwasher's job. No. That's what it's there for. We have been blessed by it, by the creators and their goodness. But just a general, light, little rinsing would allow you to, one, not run the dishwasher for so long.
Okay.
And two, it doesn't matter if you use the silverware dividers because they don't still have avocado stuck to them. And you're like, yeah, the dishwasher's going to do this. Clink. And then it doesn't, even when they're upright. Also, side note, I just don't like loading it your way because
you mean it's not my way.
It's your way.
It's the way that the creators
I don't like loading it that way.
Okay.
Okay. Double sub thing. You know that you're supposed to load things down for child safety, right?
Our kids are fine. They're super
They're
advanced.
fine. They're not going to fall on a fork. We got it.
All right. So those are your feelings, and they're strong.
Yep.
They're strong feelings.
Huh.
Okay. And now a new segment that you all apparently really liked last week.
Okay.
And also really liked the sound bite that I made up on the spot that I'm trying to remember called What I Googled This Week. Search!
We'll just go find it from last week and make it a button.
Yeah. So this is what I Googled last week. I don't Google a lot of things, I realized. I think you Google probably more things than I do.
Especially in certain phases of life.
Catalina Island.
It's apparently there's islands off of California.
And I've been to Catalina. And Brooke just learned that while we were watching Bosch. Also on the note of Bosch, what does RHD stand for? Which stands for the Robbery Homicide Division. Been watching Bosch Cop Show, and they say RHD all the time. I'm like, what does it stand for?
Yeah.
Bitcoin price. I do have a little bit of Bitcoin, and it's skyrocketing. And mermaid pictures for kids.
Like to color or just to look at mermaids?
I was trying to calm one of our children down. I'm not going to say their name. But the youngest one wanted something to calm her down. And so I was like, hey, do you want to look at pictures of mermaids?
Nice. Was it primarily illustrated or was it like people in costumes?
It was both. And so,
nice.
Yeah, it wasn't my best calming Google search, but it worked. It did the job.
Okay, my things I Googled this week. Hot Z's Pizza phone number.
If you want a good buffalo breaded chicken sub, Hot Z's Pizza on Fruitville Pike. That's a free shout out right there.
There you go.
I wouldn't recommend anything else.
No, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That'll do.
It'll do with the
That'll
cheese.
do, pig.
Yeah. Oh, nice babe reference.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. My second one would be Enneagram numbers and stress and health, because it's like as much as I know it, sometimes I just need to see that, little graph to remind me. Number 3,
This one got me. The giggle box.
Antsy Pants tumbling mat. Okay, so the brand.
So Brooke's coming back. She's coming out of her gymnastics retirement. She's back.
I'm back, baby. I did tumble for many, many years.
Yeah.
Okay, so Antsy Pants is a brand.
Yep.
They're in Targets. I don't know if they're anywhere else, but I know they're in a Target. And they have like, like forts you build and like ball pit balls, and it's very like active play type things. They have a little tumbling mat that's like rainbow colors.
And it's like
it folds.
Yep.
It's literally a tumbling mat. That's exactly how they work.
Yep.
And I would like one for the basement, and theirs is the cutest.
So
but I can't find it anywhere.
Okay. So you're Googling it.
Yeah.
Right.
Lastly,
someone else got me.
Bush baby photos. Do you know what a bush baby is?
It's like a little sort of like monkey type gremlin. Is it a gremlin?
Mm-hmm.
Is it what gremlins are
with
based
giant eyes, right?
Ewok. Is it an Ewok?
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's a tree walk.
It's like a tree monkey Ewok gremlin.
Right.
But not the gremlin part of the gremlin, the like fluffy one. Have you ever seen Gremlins?
No, but I know what you're referencing. Yeah, June had one of her little stuffies, all the ones with the giant eyes, the kids love.
Yeah.
And the kids, and I said that like all those kids,
all those
darn kids
all
loving
those
their stuffies.
Loving their stuffies.
Anyway, she was like, I don't know what animal this is. And I said, honestly, it kind of looks like a bush baby.
What's a bush baby?
Exactly.
Okay. And you're like, let me show you a gremlin first.
Well, they might be nocturnal because so many of the pictures of them are in the dark. They're in the trees. The pictures are in the dark. And so, the flash photo with their eyes, Sonny was a little concerned with the bush babies. June was like, oh, they're so cute.
Yeah.
And Sonny was like, that's scary.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, a little bit. But.
All right. Well, let us know what you Googled this week. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. You know, I there was part of me that wanted to be like butt cream, but I do that joke a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't actually need butt cream.
Right.
I obviously need face lotion because I look like I was dead this morning, but that's fine. Now to the topic at hand today. We are going to talk about our conversational communication tool belt. This is a topic that Brooke and I have been talking about more recently. I feel like we're still sort of unpacking it, but we thought we'd do a little bit of that unpacking on the podcast because what could go wrong when you're trying to unpack an idea
for the first
time while
live.
people are listening? What? Nothing. Strongly agree. Nothing. And
maybe we shouldn't.
And we've had a few friends recently that said they listened to the podcast and first they're like, I don't know if all of our friends listen. I know all of our friends don't listen, but some friends do that know us in real life. And one specific friend told Brooke, she's like, I love the way that you and TJ communicate to each other. And that got us to talking about like how we communicate and the tools that we use to communicate. And that we have definitely improved our communication over the years. Yeah. Specifically over the last 2-ish years. And we've realized that we use a lot of tools to do that. And it's not that we've ever had like poor communication, because there are definitely couples who really are bad at communicating.
Right.
We've never been quite there, but it's definitely improved. And I feel like it's still improving, and we're just kind of seeing the beginning of that improvement.
If anything, it was just lacking.
Yes.
It's not that it was like we were trying really hard and terrible at it.
Yeah. Yeah, it just didn't exist.
Just didn't exist as frequently as we chat now.
And so because of those compliments, we thought we would share some of those tools in as concise a way as we can. And the best sort of metaphor and visual for that is a tool belt. And so picture a tool belt of someone building a house. Like they probably have lots of things, attachments hooked to them. They probably have a trusty hammer, some nails, measuring tape, and some other things that you would need. They might have a place where a drill goes, or they might have a tool belt for part of the job that they use, depending on what room they're building or what job they're doing. I don't know. I've never built a house. But we all have tools to communicate with each other. And we have different tools. Like I have tools I use to communicate with Brooke. Some of those tools will work while communicating with my children. Some of them will definitely not, and they'll go over their head. They'll be too advanced. And so we have, I communicate with my parents differently, and we all have tools that we use to communicate. Some of them come very naturally to us. Yeah. And we have strengths in ways to communicate, and some of us are terrible at other ways. But here are some of the things, some of the tools that we use. So we're going to kind of split this conversation into 2 parts, where we're going to talk about the tools that we use to communicate with each other, some language, if you would. And then we're going to talk about the tools we use to deliver that communication.
Right.
So it's like
We're kind of using the same
metaphor,
visual, two different ways.
Two different ways, yeah. Nice.
But the whole point of...
Good job communicating that.
Thanks, babe. Thanks. That was me explaining something. The whole point of giving this visual, I lost my train of thought, is just that, like, even just naming it a tool belt and us being able to talk, like, we've even used that now within our communication.
Yeah.
Like talking about, somebody else or somebody else's style of communication. And it's just, even just that right there. We all have a communication tool belt.
That is helpful.
Number one.
Okay. So, and again, we are unpacking this. So there might be things that we've left off this list. There might be things that we add to this list later. You might use some of these, but not all of these. You might use all of these. And so again, there's not really, there is definitely a wrong way to communicate. I will say that, but we're kind of trying to focus on getting better at it. Now, we're not going to be like, don't do this or don't do that. This is a conversation I'm just trying to figure out a way to say this.
Yeah.
I feel like some Christians hearing this conversation will try to Jesus juke it. Like we are talking about emotions and personalities and things like that. And often Christians will be like, well, it's not in the Bible. So, I don't, like blah, 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 like Jesus juke and like, obviously we're speaking under the umbrella of like being redeemed by Christ. So like, just because we don't say that,
we've gotten in the boat.
Yeah. Yeah. We're in the boat and we're trying to learn how to communicate while in that boat.
Yeah.
So try not to Jesus juke us, which is a John Acuff phrase, I think.
Yeah.
And just like, to me, the example is like, well, Jesus never talks about computers, yet we use those every day and they're helpful. Like,
right.
Perspective. So here we go. We're going to still unpack this as we go. But we thought we'd give it a first try here. The first thing in our conversational communication tool belt is, I don't know why I did it that way.
Is drum roll. That is exactly how you let it up. I was like, wow, this is getting real hyped real fast. Is a buckle.
I like it.
Wow.
So
buckle in, babe.
Buckle in. Buckle up. You're here for it.
Buckle in.
So
buckle up.
I wanted to start with something super basic. Like if you're going to do a job and wear a tool belt for that job, you have to buckle it on. And so if you want to communicate with your spouse or with someone you love, your kids, and again, that's kind of the context that we're using, people in your life that you want to build a deeper relationship with.
Yeah.
You have to wear the tools. You have to you have to show up and use the tools.
Yeah.
And so whatever those tools may be, if you leave your tool belt at home or out of this conversation, or you can't expect.
You're not going to be able to get the job done well.
Right.
Not that every conversation is like, I'm going to get my job done, but
you're not going to be able to, do the job well. And so remember, like the first step is like, I am going to commit to communicating. We're going to get better at communication, Brooke and I.
Right.
You wear your belt, I'll wear mine, and we'll try to understand how they work. And we'll,
My Bedazzler is in my tool belt, just
nice.
So you know.
I love it. I'm here for it.
So I can bedazzle the belt itself.
Oh, as well. Okay. There's probably also some beauty counter in there. Maybe a moisturizer for your...
Or maybe like a little lip jelly.
Oh, nice.
It's so cute.
Link in the bio.
That's actually, when does this come out? Top secret. You may have just learned something.
I see what you did there.
The link will be in the bio on the 26th.
Oh.
What?
I don't know.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I didn't hear anything. So a buckle is a really great place to start. Commit to, and again, we're obviously married and we talk a lot about marriage and that's kind of the context, but this is the same context for your kids, whether they're young or old. The next one
in between
in our conversational tool belt is the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
We ask God to help us love.
Sorry, my chair. Hold on. I was trying to make my chair higher. Oh, that was so great. And I was on the wide shot too. I was just realizing that you kind of
I'm falling.
You look like a giant compared to me. And I was like, I think my seat's just really low. We're not that far apart in height. Sorry.
Anyway.
The Holy Spirit. Yep, got it again.
Asking God to open our hearts and minds to our spouse or, parents, family, etc. Believing that the part of two becoming one and love flourishing in our home is going to come by God giving us the space to move, by us giving God the space to move in our lives. realizing that when we are walking with him, it might be easier to walk together. And so like,
that's a good word.
that helps. And like we do that in different ways. Some people are like, that's their quiet time. Some people it's worship music. Some people it's going to church every week. Some people it's, talking about the Lord and like whatever it is, and some of it's a combination of all of them. Communicating with God to help you communicate with others is so valuable. And so like having that tool in your belt is so valuable, and kind of listening to the Holy Spirit in your belt, like is a valuable tool, because like last night, Brooke came down and she's like, "Are you doing okay?" We were about to watch a show together, and I was doing fine, but she's just like, "I just felt like I should ask," because
I felt a nudge to ask if you were okay.
Yeah.
And then I tried to negate that in my own head by being like, "Of course he's okay. We've talked all day."
Right.
And like actually kind of a lot today.
But actually, and I was okay. Like this isn't like, well, actually, my pinky toe fell off.
Let me show you my Google search terms. What?
But just her asking like really meant a lot to me, and I just felt like that's what the Lord wanted. He wanted me to know that I'm on his mind, and that I'm on your mind, and that was really like a precious moment. And it was so simple and like nonchalant, but like listening to the Holy Spirit to communicate well with people is just so valuable, and to like lean into those nudges. Like sometimes they just happen in like a blink of an eye, and we think, that wasn't it, and then. And then it happens again. You're like, that wasn't, like, listen to those and ask people how they're doing, or like bring something up that you feel like you need to bring up. And again, like that is just part of the way we communicate, and we lean into those things. And, sometimes it's like the other night I asked Brooke if I could have off of bedtime. And because the night before I had like a really long bedtime, it was just like every stalling tactic was in place. And I was just like, I was tired. It was a lot. And so I asked off, and then throughout the night as I was cleaning up for dinner, I was like, she needs help tonight, and I'm going to be there for her. And I was like, I'm going to help you with bedtime. And
I almost started crying.
Yeah. So like, and
again, not because I couldn't have then just done it all. Like I couldn't, not that I couldn't have powered through, but it was this, I felt
and to
like
me, it wasn't
noticed that there was something under the surface that was like, oh, I can do that, but I am equally not on edge, but I am equally weary for different reasons.
Yeah. And so it was like, not that like the light, Jesus light shone through the window, and I was like, I need to help with bedtime, but I just felt.
And doves flew out while you were doing the dishes.
Yeah. And I was like, how did doves get in our house? But I just felt it. Like,
that's Job throwing the dead dove back into the ocean.
So asking the Lord to help you communicate better is a great place to be, in a tool in your tool belt.
Yeah.
The next one that we use a lot, and we actually talk about a lot on here, is personality tools. Yep. So better understanding our personalities has extreme and others has done incredible things for our communication skills. And obviously there's a ton of personality tools out there: Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, Strength Finder, spiritual gift tests, combination of all of them. Obviously we talk about the Enneagram a lot because that's the one that really kind of clicked for us. It's so good to learn how Brooke ticks, like, and how I tick, like what makes us tick, kind of like the alligator clock, crocodile clock, and Hook. Yeah, I needed to bring it back to Hook at least once.
Yeah.
And so those are super, super helpful. They are tools. They are not a religion. We don't fall, we don't worship at the idol of the Enneagram, which again, I've just held to Christians, or I'll still think that. Yeah. We just use them to better communicate with us, and they've been so helpful.
Yeah.
Understanding Brooke's 9 tendencies, understanding my 7 tendencies has given us language to both maybe lay off items that we should lay off of when we want to kind of hound people, but also like understand where I'm coming from. Like, all I want to do is entertain myself.
Yeah. Brooke, which I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
I want to play video games. I want to watch shows. I want to listen to music. All I want to do is entertain myself. That is my goal for the day. Like, to get to that point. And sometimes that makes me feel super selfish. And I have to explain, I know that's selfish, but I'm not going to do that because I'm a healthy, functional human being. So I'm going to do this. And sometimes when it seems hard for me to do this and show up here, that's why. It's not because I don't love you, or I don't love our kids, or I don't love our life, but it's because there's often this pull to want to do this extra stuff.
Yeah.
For Brooke, one of the huge helpful terms that we've kind of understood from the personality tests from the Enneagram is like, as a 9, she enters low power mode. I'm just going to check out. I don't want to, essentially.
No thanks.
No thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be more peaceful. I'll have more internal peace if I just check out and
if I
power it down.
Myself from the situation.
And so her showing up, I sometimes see how hard and challenging it is for her. And it gives me more empathy towards her and towards that, and allows me to encourage her in that.
Yeah.
And so, we link some Enneagram books in the show notes almost every week. I would say the best one to start with, if you're like, just want to kind of get the quick hitter of the Enneagram, is The Path Between Us, because that one is like how to build healthy relationships with others. And I mean, that one's all about how
the numbers relate to each other.
And that one has just been, that's still the best one, I think, for us.
My favorite.
It's my favorite too. And so that's the one I would start with. It's really easy to read. It's actually it's going to be my book next month. So I'm reading 2 nonfiction books a month. I haven't reread that in a long time, so that's going to be one of them.
Well, and we listened the first time, right?
We listened the first time, so I'm excited to actually read it with my eyeballs.
Will you hear her voice in your head?
Yeah, absolutely.
As you read it?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
And then we recently took the spiritual gifts test, which I still need to link in one of these shows.
Yeah.
And one of our two of our gifts that were high, we had the same 2 gifts.
Me
at
and you,
the top.
we matched. They were just flip flop.
Flip-flopped, yeah. Switch swap.
Classic
Switch swap. That's a June phrase. Was giving, and what was the other one? Administration. And so like, it allowed us to be like, okay, yeah, giving is one of them. Let's give more, like, and be okay with that. Not overthink it. Not feel like, oh, well, should we be teaching more? Should we be doing this more? Like, but allow God to use the gifts that He naturally put in us to
order the prize wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so
overnight, yes.
How big is it? I don't care.
Strongly agree. Although I will say that taking that spiritual gifts test, not only did we learn some things about our personality, it wasn't really anything brand new. It was a confirming of things, I think, for both of us. Also, we then talked about literally the way we took the test, which was you being like, strongly disagree, strongly agree, strongly disagree, strongly agree. And I was like, I don't
somewhat agree, somewhat disagree.
I don't think I clicked either extreme at any point in time.
For real, the whole test.
I don't think I had any strongly disagrees.
Okay.
I think I had a couple strongly agrees, but I was in the middle there. And so even just that has been this
language that we've used.
Funny but helpful, because you'll be like, oh man, you'll be talking about something and you're kind of getting like, passionate, athletic about it. And, you'll just be like, strongly agree. And I'm like, like maybe sometimes click in the middle.
Where I used to probably just be like, one of my faults would be like, Brooke, why don't you strongly agree? Get on board with me.
Right.
And I used to like kind of get bothered by that.
Offended
and annoyed and like, thought everyone was dumb and I was the only smart one in the room, which that may happen occasionally. I don't know if it happens every day, but it does happen some days.
Wow. It used to happen every day. We've come down from that a notch. Okay. Good to know. I'm the only smart one in the room.
Okay, let's all start there, everyone.
Right.
Now, where do we go?
From here.
You get the firewood. You kill the animal.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Administration. That was actually my gift more than yours. Not by much.
Was it?
Yeah.
So that's a big tool in our tool belt. The personality test, like understanding language around the personality, and understanding our personalities better so that we can we know our tendencies on how we're going to communicate.
Yeah.
And we can try to maybe soften those at times or increase those at times, and that we know the tendencies of our spouse and how they take communication.
Yeah.
It has helped both ways.
Well, yeah. And if I could add, I don't like blanket statements. So I don't intend to
love blankets.
I love blankets and statements.
Put them together.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like
I love sushi. I love haircuts.
Don't want them together. Audio, video, babysitting, don't need both. One or the other. Plumber, too far. What was I going to say? Blanket statements. It's coming back. Oh, I feel like and I could be wrong, but I do feel like a lot of people's, let's say, Enneagram journey or insert whatever personalities thing they're doing,
self-discovery
tool they're using.
Yeah.
I often feel like it stops once they know themselves. And that is where the Enneagram has been so helpful to me, is that I didn't let it stop there. I first started learning about your number, very much so. Yeah. And once I felt like I had
sevens are the best.
Down, right.
Let me learn about all these other crappy numbers.
Right, exactly. I started really learning about all of them, and that has been so helpful in communicating with
and really giving us empathy
or
for a lot of the quirks of family members that drive us bananas.
Right.
Or, I mean, strangers, not family members.
Right. We don't know them at all.
Yeah, my family has never driven me bananas at all. Yeah, I meant strangers. Did I say family?
You did say family.
Well, sometimes I have this disease
where you see
switch family to strangers. It's weird.
It's weird. It is very specific.
Yeah. So sorry about that. Sorry you had to see that. Yeah. And so, so that's a really good point. It really has created empathy, which is not something that I naturally have a lot of.
Right.
Because I'm the smartest person in the room.
Right.
So it's hard to have empathy. Is this
how big is your head?
Well, naturally, it was so big that I had to wear an adult-sized hat
as a child
and T-ball as a child. So thank you for bringing up that childhood wound. But
you're welcome.
It's grown since then. Metaphorically speaking.
Thank goodness it's metaphorically speaking. Hey, we really need to chat.
Like a slinky going down the stairs.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one tool. That's another tool. And then the next tool is the other two tools. I think they're kind of all similar.
Right.
But I think that it's good to separate them, which is why I did that.
Because for me, it's helpful to name it. I want to know these the title of all these different.
And so far, our titles have been.
And then I have different examples under each one.
A buckle.
Right.
The Holy Spirit.
There.
Yep. Personality tools.
Yep. And
then this one.
That slice of the pie.
Yep. Emotional/feeling language.
Yeah.
And so this one is hard. It's harder for the robots out there, the people with hearts of stone.
Right.
Love does not compute.
I was
just learning to love. Oh no, your battery fell out. Some people have a hard time expressing feelings, just period. Like it's just not natural to them. They weren't raised that way. Or sometimes they weren't raised that way. Sometimes it's literally just not natural to them.
Even if nature or nurture.
Even if they were raised that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to express, and this is where I fall in, the nuanced feelings between strongly agree and strongly disagree.
Right.
Like that's
because you can't communicate that middle zone.
I make it one or the other, and that's not helpful.
Right.
Because not every situation
feeling is a blanket statement.
There is more than happy sad in this world. Well, yeah. I don't know if you know that, but I know that now.
Yeah.
And it really, like, if you want to love someone well, you need to know what they're feeling.
Yeah.
That needs to be a really good tool, and you can't know what someone's feeling unless they have the language and the ability to tell you what they're feeling. And so, like, even, like my doctor friend, Dr. Josh, wrote this kid's book called What Am I Feeling?
Yeah.
And so we go through this whole story about this kid and feeling swirly and all this kind of stuff. And then at the end, there's a chart that you pull out and there's, really simple emotions.
Yeah.
And some of us literally might need to start there as adults.
With like 12 emotions to choose from.
Happy, sad, angry, embarrassed, brave, scared. Yeah.
I can't remember what they are.
And so we go through this every now and then, Jude and I, when we read that story, and it's just always so helpful to her and her young little brain to be able to express different feelings other than happy and sad, because kids are really good at expressing happy, sad, angry.
Yeah.
Those three we kind of have a natural ability to express. And it's those nuanced ones that sometimes we have trouble. And so, like, her being able to express jealousy over Sunny's birthday and Sunny, everything's about Sunny.
Yeah.
Didn't start with that day.
Right.
It started with us being able to communicate about lots of different feelings through that book and through some other things that we do as a family, that, like, it became easier on that day.
Yeah.
And so that's where, like, having this tool and understanding how to express your feelings is so valuable, because while you might not need to express that certain feeling in this exact moment, it will come to a point where you can express it. And so one of the things that we do, which again is a Dr. Josh suggestion, is we do, what was the strongest emotion you had today? What is the
strongest positive emotion,
strongest negative emotion you had today? And we don't ask those questions every day, but we do often. And that's really helped us kind of just understand where we are emotionally throughout a day.
Yeah.
There have been some surprises, which we've talked about along the way. We're like, oh, I didn't know that, you know?
So I didn't know that. So I just said it out loud. Yeah.
And then just, again, it opens up intimacy between us, that we're allowed to understand each other better and be more connected to becoming one. And it's just so valuable.
Yeah. And I think I know that there's books about this, but also you could probably just Google it. Like you can Google
a lot.
You can.
Bush babies.
Yeah.
Monster.
They're kind of scary in the trees, but also they are really cute. You can just Google a list of feelings words.
Yeah.
Like I know that, and it's the one book I can't think of right now that we were given in that group about just like communicating and how if it, as silly as it seems, if you need to go into a conversation with your list literally printed out in front of you.
Well, welcome to tonight. I'm feeling
and try to
gassy.
Use like I'm now feeling scared. Like if you can get over yourself and a little bit of what I would feel is embarrassment of like, this is silly. Yeah. Don't need to do this. But,
humble yourself. Humility is such an undervalued trait in culture. Yeah. And it leads to so much, and the Lord is often humbling us and telling us to humble ourselves. Yeah. And so if you can do that internally and be like, I don't know feelings.
Right.
But I want to learn. Yeah. I want to learn that there is not happy and sad and angry, that there are things in between. And it is important for my wife to understand those in me. Yeah. It's hard. Yeah. I will say it's very hard. It's actually been really hard for me at times.
And then on the flip side of someone like you, and again, it's funny, I kind of land in the middle. So I'm not necessarily speaking about myself, but on the flip side of someone who's like, if I can't describe these middle feelings, I'm going to go to the extremes here on the side. People who are naturally better at describing this, we cannot write off their words as drama. Right. Because they are able. Now, maybe it's not the healthiest form of expressing those. Right. Or maybe they're doing it, but I think it
can be both and.
Yes. That I think someone like you'd or way, way, way back before we knew any of this
Someone
stuff.
Terrible like you. I mean, a stranger.
A stranger, not a family member, a stranger. Sorry, I have it too. Guys, we have to break the news to you. It's both of us. It's 11:22 on a Wednesday. Monday for you guys, or Tuesday. You could listen Tuesday.
Yeah, that's how podcasts work. You can listen at your leisure.
Right, but I feel like some people would be like, whoa, like that's a lot of information, or you're feeling a lot of things, and they don't believe it. Yeah. They take it as like you're trying to be dramatic, or you're saying all those things to be hurtful. Yeah. It's like maybe their vocabulary is a lot bigger than yours. Yeah.
That's true. So, and as you learn how to deal with it, you learn how to express it in a healthy way. Yeah. And then on the flip side of that, Brooke, like for you, who's someone that lands more naturally in the middle, sometimes I have to encourage you to say, no, I think you're feeling this pretty intensely. And
I tried to downplay. I'm not really, the extremes over here and here. And I'm not in the middle, like super duper I don't necessarily have a ton of words. I think what I say is well spoken, but it's often toned down. Yeah.
And I'm like, tone it up. I want to know for real. And we've realized in the last couple of weeks that I often ask Brooke the same question twice. Mm-hmm. Are you hungry? No, I'm not. Are you sure? Well, yeah, actually I am. Because I think you've come so accustomed to toning yourself down that I sometimes feel like I don't trust your first answer, which again is something I need to work through and something we need to work through together. But
and then on the flip side, you don't trust my first answer. I am getting better at it. Yes. So sometimes I do answer truthfully the first time. Yes. You ask again, and then I feel like you don't trust me.
Right. And so it's
this flip.
We're in this
classic switch swap.
We're in this gray area right now where we are relearning behavior
Yeah.
Because for so long it was one way and now it is becoming another way, a healthier way.
Yeah.
But there is definitely a gray area between those two where you're like kind of being offended and offending someone else. Like, I'm offending you by asking the question twice.
Right. And I'm like, no, I said I want Chipotle. I meant it the first time.
Not because I mean to be offensive, but because I learned for so long that like Brooke sometimes doesn't give me the right answer or the real answer.
Yeah.
And so I want to know her real opinion. I value it so much. And so I'm still in that phase where like, I really need to just step to that next level and say, I believe you.
And then I need to be,
Yeah.
I know, you're like tilting your head and buckles. Yeah. And
Push babies. No,
I
sorry.
need to be, I need to say what I mean the first time.
Yes. And and there is tension there.
Yeah.
Luckily, we know that we love each other so much that we can work through that tension.
Yeah.
But once we get past that, that's just another tool in our tool belt. I ask a question, she gives me the answer she means, and we can move on from there.
Yeah.
And that sounds amazing.
It does sound amazing.
So that's, the emotional sort of feelings language, again, so valuable. Definitely a challenge for me when it comes to the nuance. I'm actually very good at expressing my extreme feelings. The nuance is where I struggle. Mm-hmm. Yours is sometimes the reverse.
Yeah, it literally is the reverse.
And then the next tool in our tool belt is metaphors and visuals. This is probably what we spend most of the time on the podcast talking about. Like we talk about like, are we building the same boat? Are we getting in the boat? Where do our dominoes look like? What's in the chair behind us? Like those are visual representations of feelings and emotions and personalities and all those things, all the other tools. And it just gets so helpful and Brooke and I are both super visual people. And so, when the chair behind us is one of the ones that we really talk about a lot, and we're going to have a full episode on it. And I think we're going to get Dr. Josh involved in some way, because that one has just been huge. Like, what is the actual emotion you're feeling that's coming out in this way right now?
Yeah.
And that one has been super helpful. The table of dominoes, we talk about that a lot and we had a whole episode about it where like, every action on everything you got to do in a day is a domino on a table. For Brooke, they're all the same size.
Yep.
Whether you got to pack 200 boxes and get them out the door or make dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Same size domino, weighing heavily on your head, on your like.
Should I make my bed or start a new business?
Yeah. Same size domino.
I don't know. I have to decide on both of them. Stressed out. And
her domino table feels rickety at times and she's worried that she's going to knock them all over. So sometimes she just takes them all off, removes the dominoes from every situation and kind of goes into lower power mode. That visual is so helpful to communicate about your day and about what's going on in your brain space, etc. My domino table is an amusement park. Some are big, some are exciting. They all try to lead to the end of the day where I play Apex Legends with my brother. That's what I'm trying to get to as quickly as possible. There's a Badland domino area on my table of hard feelings and emotions and
much
thoughts.
like the elephant graveyard in Lion
much
King.
like the elephant graveyard in Lion King, where I don't want to go. I don't want those to fall. But I'm learning to shine some light on those. And so that has been helpful for Brooke. And so all these visual tools, including a tool belt, is helpful to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
We like to use like on a scale of 1 to 10 a lot. Like
it's like so common with children or like you go to the doctor's office, that's how they are. Your nurse at school. That's how they ask you.
Yep.
And then we grow up and we stop using that to apply to other things. And it really is super helpful.
We use a lot of visualization with our kids. We've set up boundaries and things like that. And so, coming up with the metaphors and the visuals for some of the feeling stuff is super, super helpful because it's hard to express feelings in just words. Like sometimes we don't feel like we have the vocabulary to express our actual feeling. And so we have to tell a picture. And there's one time a great teacher who used to do this a lot. Jesus, that's his name.
Oh.
Yeah, there he is. Told a lot of stories, used a lot of metaphors and visuals to
there he is.
There he is. Hey, there he is. To explain deep things. And so we can do the same.
Yeah.
And you'll find some that are really helpful. And I would say some of our most helpful are the dominoes and the chair behind. Those are the two that we use pretty much on a daily basis. So yeah, that's one. That's another tool. And then this next part is we're switching tool belts. We're using the same metaphor twice. Right. So these are tools that we use to communicate. I'm going to go over them again real quick. A buckle. We actually have the tool belt on, so we're committing to communicating with each other.
Yep.
The Holy Spirit, we're asking God to help us communicate better and more accurately.
Yeah.
We use personality tools like the Enneagram, spiritual gifts test, things like that to give us more language and understanding on who we are, how we tick, etc. What makes us tick. And then another tool we use is emotional and feelings language, so we can express ourselves. And when that doesn't do the trick, we try to add visuals to that language to give us a better picture of what we're thinking.
Yeah.
This next part is how do you deliver your communication?
Right. So not so much your vocabulary, but your communication style.
Yes. And we all have natural ways that we do this, and we all know people who do this certain ways. And the easiest way to think about it is like we all know someone who delivers everything they're talking about with a hammer. Bam! There it is, right there. Like,
I feel very blessed.
Yeah.
You know, the type of person that is so blunt and straightforward that you're like, I need to lay down.
It's kind of abrasive.
Yeah, I talk, you know, and again, sometimes that is the best tool to use.
Right. At no point are we saying never use a hammer.
Right.
Yeah.
But sometimes maybe don't. You know, like, hey, does this outfit look good on me? No.
Maybe you could just like rinse your face off.
Yeah.
There's an idea.
Hey, dead eyes, maybe you could just brighten up a little bit. You know, some people use a laugh track to communicate where everything is a joke and everything's funny. And I don't know anyone like this, but I've heard that they're out there.
Yeah.
Some people do that. Some people deliver their communication with the back of their hand. And you're like, thanks for the compliment, maybe? Like, kind of being condescending a little bit. So that's cool.
Right.
But this isn't fun to talk to you.
Right.
You know, some people use oven mitts to communicate where they, you know, and again, we're just making these up. Like, you know,
don't hold us to all these, but we're trying to give you a general idea.
A visualization.
Yes.
You know, where they don't want to touch any hot topics and they beat around the bush and they're just like, I you know, here, like I'm softly delivering this hot thing to you, you know.
Yeah.
But they kind of want to get at it, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
They're still sticking their hands in the oven, but you're like,
right.
Are you? They don't seem very committed.
You know, some people use a ruler where like everything's super calculated and do you know anyone like this that's very particular with how they communicate? No, yeah, either do I. And so we all have tools, and again, this is not an exhaustive list. We all have ways that we communicate with others. And I think that the Lord gives us some of those ways. Like there are people who can drop the hammer, you know, and you're like, that'll preach and I'm here for it. And I needed it. And the conviction, the Lord is using your hammer to convict me and break the chains, you know, whatever, like, you know.
Yeah.
And that's super, super helpful. And then there are some people who can like, you know, come in with a spatula or, you know, a spoon and like gently deliver the message to you. And you're like, oh man, that is just powerful. And I needed that.
Yeah.
And I needed to feel like that, you know, that feeling like a warm cooked meal like has, and you're like, I feel loved, I feel known, comfort, I feel seen, and I feel comforted. And like some people are really good at delivering that way. And the people who drop the hammer sometimes need to learn how to pick up the spatula. Yeah. I don't know why I'm saying spatula, but
I'm going to start serving you things on a spatula.
Like a serving spoon. Spatula sounds a little bit.
Serving utensils.
Yeah. Weirder. And the person sometimes that uses the spatula might need to drop the hammer occasionally. You know, they might not be getting the point across. And like some of us who use humor, I don't know who, might need to be serious at times. Yeah. And that's it's hard to get out of your not that, I mean, humor, I deliver a lot of my information via humor, and there is so much value in that.
Well, can I like
go ahead,
break away for a second and just say that I know you're doing exactly it. You're being funny in this moment, but I don't want to, if I could speak directly to you, I don't want to negate.
You can.
Cool.
Because we're here.
I know, we're looking at each other.
That's the headphones. I can hear you.
What?
Yeah.
I want to say funny things quietly to the mic, but I won't. Just in case no one's ever heard that episode and they're like, got real weird real quick. Your humor is a gift and it is who you are. And I don't love the Jesus juking, if you will.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, he's only funny because he's hiding behind something.
Right.
Or it's a defense mechanism.
Right.
Or it's this like negating that it is just who you are.
Yeah.
And it is a gift. That would be like if I'm calm in a scenario, people being like, well, she's not really calm.
Yeah.
She's hiding something, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, it's just who I am.
Yeah.
I can just be calm in this scenario. Yeah. And so I know you're making a point and being funny.
And that doesn't mean,
but I don't want you to even write yourself off as like, anytime I'm funny, I'm hiding something.
Right.
Like, no, sometimes you're just funny.
Yeah. And I think that, and that's what I was trying to say at the beginning, is like the Lord gave us a way to communicate. And I think that we, with his help, with the fruits of the Spirit, that way becomes so valuable to the ones around us, and clearer and more useful, and all those great things that the Lord does when he blesses something and just has his hand on something. And so like having his hand on humor makes the humor more powerful.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't mean that that's the only way I communicate. Correct. Because there are times where I need to be serious or, just like have more emotions to communicate something more truthfully or whatever. And so
I really like the oven mitts one. I know that I can be a little bit rulerish at times. But
less so with me, more so in scenarios where there's like more people are involved.
Right.
You tend to be more kind of controlled and
right. But also I have oven mitts on.
Right.
It's a guardedness, or I'm trying to soften or avoid something hot.
Yeah.
So I relate to both of those.
And I
think the 9 in me has the mitts on.
Yeah.
The 1 in me's got my ruler out.
Yeah. The Enneagram 7 in me is the laugh track. Like, let's just keep it
light. Keep it light.
Yeah. And then the 8 in me is let's drop the hammer.
Right.
I want to bring
a really fun big one at like a carnival, maybe.
Yeah. And it's like, because like I don't really love the phrase the challenger when I relate to myself. That's the name of the 8, because like I don't often feel like I'm just challenging people's status quo. Like the visual we had earlier this week in a conversation was like, I don't feel like I'm just poking holes in things just to see what it does.
Right. All those will be fun. Smash.
Yeah. So
which some eights very much do.
Like, hey, think about this.
They're often
and you're like, oh gosh,
really
I didn't want to.
Advocates for things, or they
yeah.
start these worldwide organizations that like totally disrupt and change.
I feel like the hammer in me is like, I want to knock you into a more positive path.
Right.
Like,
I'm going to just please sit down in the front seat of this roller coaster because you're going to love it.
You're going to love it. Like, and that's why like the rhythms and that stuff, I'm so passionate about it because it has had such a positive effect on us that I'm like, I want to hammer people into that lane. But again, I'm not just being like, you should live with a rhythm. Like, that's not my challenge.
Thanks.
My challenge is like, this has worked for us. Let me challenge you to let me hammer you into that peg, into that hole. And just like, push you that way. And so that's how I feel. Those are the two places that I find. And then there's some people I feel like they have taken they don't wear oven mitts. They don't even own oven mitts. They grab the hot topic. Yeah. And then they just dump it on the table.
Right. And
culturally that seems to be happening a lot.
Yes.
Where people are like, these are my views. Blah.
Right.
Deal with it. Get burned. And you're just like, whoa.
Mute.
Okay. Unsubscribe. And so some of you out there might fall into that category and like put some oven mitts on.
Right.
Dumping the hot topic on the Thanksgiving table is not worth the damage it's going to do to the relationships that are there. Yeah. And so learn another way to communicate.
Yeah.
Go buy a pair of oven mitts.
Yeah.
And again, that doesn't mean you can't have these strong feelings or understand these hot topics or think someone's wrong in the way that they believe. Right. That's fine.
Right.
But I don't think that the hammer and just dumping it on the table is always the best.
Yeah.
And Brooke never thinks that's the best option, but sometimes it may be. And sometimes if you wear those oven mitts long enough, you might be able to develop a relationship where you can take them off and it's much smoother and someone will actually hear you for what you have to bring to the table.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
I like it.
So yeah, so we'll end this way. Hopefully this was helpful.
Yep.
You know, that's our hope every time. And then I get weird at the end and I'm like, did we say anything worth it? I don't know. We talk about bush babies a lot. What's going on? Who are we? Where are we? But here's how I'll end this. Unless do you want me to finish or do you have anything to go?
No,
okay.
I think that's good. I'm going to continue to think about this.
Yeah. And we'll continue to talk about it probably in a deal.
I'm going to add that to my tool belt. Yeah. Because sometimes you hear it in somebody else's conversation or like one of the ones, actually, I do have something to say.
Okay.
One thing that you are very good at, and it's probably, I don't even know if it's its own category or if it would fit under one of these. Personality.
Do we look? Do you feel super official when you're looking through the notes?
I do. I do too.
Yeah. Oh, so do I. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is more just. I don't want to say this is only small talky. That it only works there because that's not true. You're very good at asking questions and you're able to think of questions quickly.
Yeah, we actually did want to add that one too.
I think that is like another tool that you can have. And for someone like me, I need to.
You need to print out the page of questions and be like, okay,
in advance because I will forget.
I'm going to ask this one.
You can come up with them on the spot or remember.
Yeah.
But there are times where when we ask, when we redirect conversation through specific questions as trying to get somebody to, it's almost the tool. We're trying to like guide the feelings or we're trying to guide the metaphor or we're trying to guide, something. And
and a simple question can open up an avenue to a really great understanding of someone.
Yeah.
What's the most exciting thing that's happened to you in the last 30 days? That's one of my go-tos.
Yeah.
Sometimes
they're like icebreakery.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, that sounds so small talk, but
and someone might be
might get you there.
Well, I bought a new car. And you're like, oh, cool. And then someone might be like, I faced a fear.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, let's talk about like, boom, you're there.
Yeah.
And you got there quicker because you weren't just like, what's everyone's greatest fear? You know what I mean? And so
that feels a little like dumping something on the table. I'm like, oh, what? This is my greatest fear. This happening at the Thanksgiving table. We are living it.
And I'm not here for it.
She's out.
Kids, you need me? Okay.
The kids are calling, yelling. I hear things.
Yeah, that's good. Asking
questions kind of fit in any of those.
Yes.
But like that is such a practical way to communicate.
Yeah.
Like if you spend a lot of time explaining feelings, I find I often ask it back. Okay, so you're telling me you feel, or am I correct?
Yeah.
In that this is what I heard.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, sometimes you're like, not quite.
It's close, but yeah. So that's good. Yeah. Questions is a really great great tool to have in the conversational tool belt. And so here's how we'll finish. Like someone building a house or who actually uses a tool belt on a real job, I'm sure that their tools that they had 10 years ago have changed or have been upgraded or they've kind of found the right tools for the specific parts of the job they're in. And your communication and your conversations with those you love, that will happen. Something that I say a lot in life that I don't realize I say a lot until just this moment is don't set it and forget it. Mm-hmm. Don't just say, okay, well, these are my tools. This is how they're going to work. And people better fit into that mold or else I don't have time for them. And obviously like right now we have a 3-year-old and an almost 6-year-old. Mm-hmm. And so like our communication tools are going to be very different now than they are 10 years from now.
Yeah.
But we're not going to wait until 10 years to change them. We will change them out as we go and we will let them evolve as we go so that we can better understand our daughters and better understand each other. And there might be some way that I try to communicate with June and Brooke might be like, hey, TJ, that don't work. Take that tool out of your belt. Like that's not a good idea, And so like being open and having that language now allows us to say, okay, this tool isn't working. This visualization isn't working. Let's put that to bed and let's find something that does work for the season of life that we're in right now.
Yeah.
So don't set your tool belt and forget it. Keep changing, keep growing.
Don't literally forget it. That's me.
Yeah. Don't literally forget it. And try to just keep growing in your ability to communicate with others because when you can openly communicate with those around you in a healthy, happy way, your life will flourish, your heart will flourish, and you'll feel that there is more space for the presence of the Lord to come in and move and do wondrous things.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last 2 years, we've seen God move in our lives more than any of the other years ever.
Yeah.
And we've created a space where we can communicate that. And now we have the tools to be able to be like, communicate about it and then see it and then communicate about how we saw it.
Yeah.
And then it just, it allows it to flourish even more.
Yeah.
So that is it for today. Let us know what you think on the YouTube channel in the comments, because that's super encouraging to us. I think that is all.
Yeah.
I like it.
Anything else to add, babe? Upstairs or downstairs?
That's just such a great soundbite.
It is.
No,
yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay, I love you. Bye.